And welcome to Tuesday's edition of the dceu Daily. Why Brandon Routh deserves a Superman Returns sequel. You know what? I'm not going to be ashamed to say this. I love that movie. I remember the build-up to it. There's nothing more exciting to a build-up of a Superman movie. And this was really exciting because this was the first Superman movie in 20 years. And Bryan Singer was talking big. He was talking about his love of Richard Donner's Superman the movie. And he was talking about continuing that franchise. Now, you've got to understand, now you may be in a place where you thought at the time, is this wise? Why don't we do something new? And I understand that. But for me, I grew up on the Reeves era of Superman the movie. And to say that I'm going to continue from Superman 2, the Superman's been gone for 5 years, then he returns. That was really, really exciting for me. Now, we can look at the flaws of this movie and we can say, right, this movie doesn't even look or really act like a sequel to Superman 2. That's a viable flaw, right? But I don't want to look at the flaws. I want to look at the movie itself and tell you why I believe it deserves a sequel. Now, Brandon Routh, who played Superman, he did an interview with Michael Rosenbaum, who played Lex Luthor in Smallville, and he's on his Inside of You podcast, and said it affected his mental health, that the film wasn't going to, or they didn't know if the film was going to get a sequel or not. And before the Writers Guild of America's strike, there was actually going to be a sequel. The only thing that Warner Brothers said to Bryan Singer was, Bryan, more action. The big complaint was there wasn't enough action. Ironically enough, the complaint about Man of Steel was that there was too much action. Can you ever have too much action and destruction? I don't think so. But this film was really about character. It was about Superman and his place in the world. Do we really need someone to catch us when we fall, or should he let us just crash? These were the questions this film asked. I thought it was a very emotional film. It was a very slow-paced film. As I say, there wasn't a lot of action, but I liked it. I liked the music. I liked the fact that they used the classic John Williams theme. I'm saying that. As a fan of the Snyderverse, I'm saying that, right? I think this was a really good film. And actually, reviews were really, really good. And I'm not talking about YouTubers. I'm not talking about John Campier here. I'm talking about highbrow critics saying this is a really good film. This film made just under $400 million at the global box office. Not enough for what Warner Brothers wanted, but they were still looking at putting a sequel together with Bryan Singer and Brandon Routh and Kate Bosworth and the rest of the cast reprising their roles. And even Kevin Spacey being flown over to Australia again to do all his scenes again as Lex Luthor. I was really excited. There was never a part of me who said, you know what, I don't want this. I enjoyed the film. Yes, the film, there was an underwhelming quality about the film, but the film was good. It did what it wanted to do. It brought Superman back into our lives. And again, just like the Snyderverse, Warner Brothers were reactionary. Now, several years later, Bryan Singer tried to blame Brandon Routh for the failure. Now, as a director, I could never do that. Never. It's my responsibility. He's the one who set this movie up. He's the one who wanted to continue the Donnerverse. You've got to take it on the chin. I believe Warner Brothers should have allowed the sequel to happen. In fact, I did have the honour of reading what the sequel was about, and a few people did as well. And basically, we were going to have a proper Brainiac story. Brainiac comes to Earth. Superman shows him around. But then it all falls apart when Brainiac says, why don't you conquer these people? Why don't you dominate these people? You have the power to. You should do this. We should join up. And Superman refuses. Now, ultimately, Brainiac tries to conquer the Earth. He disguises himself as Jason, Superman's son from the first movie. And Superman kills his son, Jason, by mistake. Now, for me, that would have been compelling. And I've said this, we've spoken about this loads of times on this channel. But to think that Superman kills his own son mistakenly, how is Lois going to feel about him? How is Richard White going to feel about him? This was Bryan Singer described Superman Man of Steel, which is what the film was going to be called, the Superman Returns sequel, as a Wrath of Khan, Empire Strikes Back type of movie. And I think it would have been amazing. And I certainly think they all deserve the chance to put right what people deemed went wrong and give us something very, very interesting. Now, Brandon Routh spoke about not being addicted to drugs because of his depression or alcohol, but actually being addicted to gaming. He buried himself in gaming. I forgot which one he said he was playing all the time. But so Brandon Routh really felt it. Brandon Routh really wanted to play this character. I think Brandon Routh's performance as Superman and Clark Kent was sensational. I really do. And Bryan Singer did a lot of good things. Some people complain about the CGI. There is some hammy CGI in the film. But elements of, like when he's lifting up New Krypton at the end, is such a powerful image. When the bullet goes in his eye. And the aeroplane rescue. Sensational special effects and CGI. Great acting by Brandon. And so there's some great elements in this film. And I think it deserved that. Now, what they did with Crisis, bringing him back as Kingdom Come Superman, in the Kingdom Come costume, and saying that Lois, Jimmy and Perry all died in some kind of villainous attack by a desperate villain from Gotham. Could be the Joker. Some people are saying it's the Joker. So what can we do with a sequel? Well, I'm quite partial to Bryan Singer's sequel, which I read, which is about Brainiac and Superman killing Jason by mistake. Now, obviously, it's interesting in Crisis. I don't think they mentioned the death of Jason, did they? Or did they? I'm not quite sure. But anyway, you could do, a lot of people, I noticed on Ping Pong Flicks, Chris Wong Svensson was talking about doing a pre-Crisis one. Now, there's been a lot of rumours. Apparently, someone verified was talking about rumours of HBO Max actually doing a pre-Crisis kind of Superman Returns sequel, which I think would be amazing. I think Brandon Routh deserves this. And as I say, I think this film, Superman Returns, had a lot of viability about it. 400 million isn't the end of the world, but obviously it's a business. But I think if you're not so reactionary and you put the things that went wrong right, I don't think, when I look back at that film, I think, do you know what? It wasn't so bad. This was the first film. This was a world-building film. This was about taking what happened in Superman 2 and then Superman coming back 5 years later. I like that element. I like the element of Lois moving on. People didn't like Kate Bosworth as Lois. I think she did a really good job. People complaining about her wig, blah, 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 saying that she was too young. And then, again, going back to Man of Steel, they complained that Amy Adams was too old. So you can't win with these people, right? I think things like Superman are always going to have the magnifying glass out in people, and people are always going to nitpick. But I do feel with this multiverse strategy now, it's an opportunity. Now, I think that HBO Max, Warner Media and AT&T want to do something with Brandon's Superman, and I think that's right. But I do feel we need to continue. Look, basically, you could do a Superman Returns story continuing from that story. You could time jump. You literally could do anything you want from it. Obviously, the viability of it is there, but also you've got to look at who you can get back from the cast. Kevin Spacey is a no-no, so definitely cast a new Lex Luthor. Basically, Michael Rosenbaum, who did the interview with Brandon on his Inside of You podcast, was a great Lex on Smallville. Why can't he play that Lex Luthor that Spacey played? Why not? I think there was a lot of echoes in Kevin's performance to Michael Rosenbaum's performance as a younger Lex. And so, and forget about this crap about it confusing people. It wouldn't. It would make people really happy. So Michael Rosenbaum as the Lex Luthor from the Superman Returns universe would be amazing. And there's lots of different things you can do. As I say, you may not be able to get Kate Bosworth or the guy who played Perry White, and I forgot his name now. Really, he played Skeletor, didn't he, in the Masters of the Universe movie? Such a great actor, stemming from the theatre. But at the end of the day, there is elements where you may have to recast, but that's okay. That's okay. You can do that. But I do feel that the Brainiac story is a good place to start from. Bryan Singer's idea. Listen, I know Bryan Singer has been accused of many, many things, but this is not about Bryan Singer. Bryan Singer is not going to be involved in this, obviously, right? But Brandon Routh hasn't done anything wrong in his real life. He's a gentleman. He's been great with DC. He's been great on Legends of Tomorrow as Ray. So I just think that you saw him on kind of the behind the scenes as Superman, very, very proud to be back as Superman. It really did hurt him that he didn't get that sequel because, you know, when you do something as big as that, there's a lot of pressure on you, isn't there? And I think he did a great job. And I mean, there was even a petition for him to play Superman in Zack Snyder's Man of Steel. Obviously, Zack didn't want to cast Brandon. He wanted to cast his own Superman, as Matt Reeves did with the Batman, and that's absolutely fine. You can't start attacking directors because they want to go their own direction. But it shows you how much respect and love us Superman fans have for Brandon's interpretation of Superman. So I do feel it's viable. I do feel it's there. I do feel the sequel story Brian and Dan Harris and the other guy came up with Brainiac is very, very viable and I think will be exciting. I think that's a great jumping off point. And then, as I say, you can recast Lois, you can recast Jimmy if these people can't come back. I personally think they would want to come back. I think we've seen with the MCU and the DCEU now, the multiverse is there. This is in a different Earth. Again, I'm really watching a lot of Chris Wong Svensson, the Ping Pong Flicks, and I was listening to his podcast. He's very good, actually. You should go follow him. But I do think when he was talking about this is why I was inspired to do this video, because I do think this is something people want. I think what the Snyderverse has done is divided people. Now, I love the Snyderverse, but you can understand why diehard Superman fans may not like it and why there may be a place for other versions of Superman. And, you know, I definitely think we should oversaturate the market with Superman. You know, Sony and Disney are going to do it with Spider-Man, and I think that's right, because this is an important character. I had a heated debate on Twitter the other week. He was saying, oh, you know, I agree with Superman being benched. He doesn't make as much money as Batman and Wonder Woman and Aquaman. I don't care. I don't care about that. You get this character right, he will put butts on seat. He will get subscribers over on HBO Max. It's not about box office anymore. The theatre system is dead for now, and it could be dead longer than that. And I know movie theatres are reopening in New York, but how long is that going to last, right? This is a viable property. He played the character great. I mean, Superman Returns was released, 14 years ago? That's a very long time. And to think there's still love for this character. One of the reasons Crisis was so successful, because this guy was on it. His Kingdom Come costume is probably better than that costume. That costume took a lot of getting used to. But I actually like that costume now. It's okay. It's all about different interpretations and different visions, and it's okay. And this is a great, viable Superman. And this is actually Christopher Reeve's Superman. How awesome is that? And that's another thing for Brandon. I feel that means a hell of a lot to Brandon Routh, that he was taking on the mantle of Christopher Reeve's Superman. And of course, people accused him of doing an impersonation. I never saw that. People said he looked like Christopher Reeve, and that's why he was cast. I don't think he looks anything like Christopher Reeve. I think apart from the black hair, you can't really say he looks like Christopher Reeve. I don't even know if that's his natural hair colour. Listen, Brandon Routh came from the soap circuit. He didn't do very much before this. And for him to get in there and deliver such an epic performance, I guide you, if you haven't seen this film, to him holding up New Krypton. The acting, the fucking acting this guy is doing in that sequence is sensational. You actually believe he's struggling and he's sweating. It's sensational. Brilliant by Brandon Routh and brilliant by Bryan Singer, whatever you think of him in that moment. So actually, Superman Returns was a really good film and had some great elements for it. And as I say, very reactionary, as usual, by WB, not to give this film a sequel. Just like it was reactionary not to give Green Lantern a sequel and just fix the issues. Give the guy a proper, real-life freaking costume, man. You made a mistake. Deal with it. Come back and deliver what people want. and then you can fix what went wrong. And this is the problem. Superman Returns should have continued. Green Lantern should have continued. Batman Returns should have. Batman Begins. The Nolan universe. They should have been a franchise, right? They all were around the same time. But again, at that time, WB didn't have the vision. They waited for Disney to do it and the MCU to do it. And look what happened. They were chasing after their mantle and they made more mistakes. Now, AT&T are trying to correct mistakes that Warner Brothers Pictures made and DC Entertainment made in the past. And the first way to do this is to give Brandon Routh his Superman Returns sequel, just as he deserves. What do you think? Would you like to see Brandon Routh reprise his role as Superman? I definitely would. Comment down below. Like, share and subscribe, and I'll be back later with more videos. See you again soon.